Hi everybody, my name is Brady DeHaven. Welcome to the YouTube channel where I am doing some running shoe reviews. As mentioned in previous videos, I'm an ex-college distance runner at the Division II level. I ran 5 years at Biola University in Southern California, both cross country in the fall and track in the spring. I've racked over 15,000 miles in my legs over that time span. So many awesome memories that running's given me. I love the sport. I want to do it for as long as my legs allow me. And I just have a big passion for running shoes. Obviously, the shoe is what makes a big part of the sport. It's kind of our main equipment per se. And so I've been so fascinated by shoes over the past 5 years, trying so many different shoes, everything from, you're trying a new high mileage week, you're trying different workouts, and obviously shoes play an effect. So today I'm going to be reviewing the New Balance 1080 version 13. This is New Balance's newest cushion shoe. It's not quite their most max cushion shoe, but it is a great fresh foam shoe that they just came out with just a couple months ago. This pair of shoes I have about 100 miles in. Bottom looks pretty good right now. I'll go into that in depth in the future. But I want to first just start off with some just general facts about the shoe. This is a 6mm shoe. It's about $165, so it is more expensive. Shoes have been crawling up in price over the past few years, if you haven't noticed. This is a very light trainer. So if you're a Clifton person, you've worn Cliftons in the past, this is very similar, Clifton counterpart. It comes in about 9.2 ounces for a size 9. So that's going to be lighter than things like your daily trainers, like the most popular ones like Brooks Ghost, New Balance 880s. These are lighter, and despite being lighter, they do have a lot of cushion, which is really cool. It's a very plush cushion. So previously in my last video, I talked about the Ghost Max. That cushion is not as plush as this. When you slip this on, you're going to get a very similar feeling to the Clifton mush. And by mush, I don't mean a bad thing. It's just plush. Feels like your foot just kind of sits on a cloud. And what I love about these shoes is that the upper really fits onto the shoe well. And that's really important because, as I have talked about in the past, you don't want a shoe that you feel like you're walking on planks or you're slapping the ground or you're picking something up off your foot, right? You want something that kind of just wraps around, feels like it's nice and snug on the bottom, but obviously it's true to size. And this shoe does such a good job of that. This is the white version. I love white shoes, despite people saying, they're going to be disgusting in 2 days. I don't think that's necessarily true. Sure, you go out on a trail, it'll get dirty quick, but big fan of white. I just like white. So let's first talk about the comfort. As I mentioned earlier, Fresh Foam X. This is a new innovation of the foam that I find to be very plush. I think a lot of max cushion shoes do give you a lot of foam, but I think the big deal breaker with the foam is whether it's giving you a good response, right? If you have a ton of foam, but it just feels like it's just a big slapping, 4x4 plank that you're hitting the ground in, I don't believe the foam is doing much. I mean, there's plenty of science behind foam and things like that, but when it comes to foam, you do want something that you feel like is nice and plush. You don't want it to be too mushy, which I will make a video in the future about this, maybe 500, 600, 700 miles in, and tell you what the foam has changed, if it has changed over time. A lot of people believe that when the foam is really plush, 200 miles in, it's going to turn flat. That's 100 miles in. That's not necessarily true yet. I'll make a video in the future and we can find out. The quality of the shoe is fantastic. I've been a New Balance fan for quite some time. I think the quality of their shoes is just great. It's breathable. It's durable. I haven't had rips or tears and anything like that. I believe that there's just a good amount of upper material, so you're not going to worry about your shoes, your toes ripping through anything. it feels very just well built, genuine. It doesn't feel like some glue was just thrown in there. So at the price point, you're not missing out on the terms of just the quality. As I mentioned, the sole, this is white, so you can't quite see the outer sole quite where the rubber is. But if you look up closer, you have essentially like blades right across here. And then you got two blades up here with quite some upper sole, or with some sole on the bottom. I think when I first saw this shoe, I was like, I don't know if this is gonna last 100 miles, because it didn't look like, just because there's quite a bit of foam on the bottom. I wasn't sure if just the sole unit itself was gonna be durable, if it was just gonna get shaven down and then I was gonna be running on foam for the rest of the shoe. That's not true. And also what's not true is I was worried that this on a wet road would be more slick, just because it appears as though there's less rubber and more foam, but that's not necessarily true. As I mentioned previously, this plush cushion feels like your foot's on a cloud, and the upper just wraps on right nice, true to size fit. No, I wouldn't say no, I would say very minimal heel slippage. So I think in terms of the fit, this shoe's close to a 10, maybe a little more lockdown on the heel, but partly that is due just to the fact that it's plusher, and you're gonna feel a little more of your foot when it's plush, because your foot's kind of pushing down on the shoe. The landing is great. This is another thing I'll test maybe about 500 miles in, is if that landing got flat, just because as you can see, this cushion is very squishy. So a lot of miles on the road, I'm not sure if it'll turn flat, but we can find out. And we'll have that in the future for you. The traction, again, like I mentioned, is great. It bites the road well. In the rain, it's done great. Haven't ran on the treadmill yet. I will do that soon, and I'm confident that it'll be great. Personally, when I'm on a treadmill, I like to have a shoe that's a little more to the ground, I guess, compared to a more max cushion shoe. But overall, I love this shoe. It's probably the best 1080 they've ever made for running. I've had the 1080 version 12. That fit really well. The tread on it was fantastic. The fresh foam worked out really well. And I know previously people had issues with the version 9, version 10, version 11, just being like a really cool shoe, but not quite the running shoe. And I think New Balance really picked up on that, took that into account in the innovation of this shoe. And this shoe might be making a bold statement, but may be the best daily trainer shoe that I've ever run in, just because I've fallen in love more with more plush cushion shoes. Just saves the legs. I think when I'm working a lot, when you're on your feet a lot, depending on what you're doing, whether that's tens of miles or a job as well, it's important to have your legs workable the other 23 hours in the day. So I just found a max cushion shoe gives me a little more life to my legs during the day. And so I've done anywhere from 6 to I think 12 miles on these shoes. Great. I have very little hot spot in the beginning in terms of just breaking the shoe in, but it's such a forgiving shoe. The durability is awesome. The traction is awesome. It's a light shoe. And so many cool things about this shoe. Really, the big question is just, is it going to be last its time in terms of its excellent quality, in terms of its just durability on the road? Can this thing be a workhorse for close to 1,000 miles? I like to push my shoes, but I don't advise that to everybody. Just discretion. That's what I like to do, just because I think the 500 mile thing is a little under. I've pushed some shoes closer to 1,000 and it's been fine. So overall, fantastic shoe. Maybe my favorite daily trainer that I've ever worn. I will be making some more reviews in the future. I hope that you guys love this review. I hope this helped you make a decision. $175 is a lot of money, but I do believe it does pay off. I do believe it's 100% worth it. And I do believe this shoe is a fantastic daily trainer for whether you're just getting into mileage, whether you're doing 80 to 100 miles, or you're in high school, or this is your first time going out on a run. Amazing shoe. I love it so much. I'm excited to see how this handles more miles and more pounding. So 1080 New Balance version 13. This is 2023 version. Look forward to making more reviews. I hope this was valuable to you guys, and we'll see you in the next one.